Ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues.
Wherever you are joining us from, a very warm welcome
to the 2020 BMA Foundation for Medical Research Awards. In place of our annual awards ceremony, we are delighted to be able to recognise and to celebrate the winners of this year's grants, albeit differently in this new virtual format.
In what has been such a difficult year, we are pleased to celebrate the success of the Foundation in supporting medical research. This year, we feel it's more important than ever to recognise the immense pressures and increased demand for clinical expertise.
The BMA Foundation is an independent charity funded by generous individuals for the good of all. Funding is available in a wide range of topics, from cancer and heart disease to the elimination of the common cold and schizophrenia. This year, in response to the pandemic, the BMA Foundation offered an additional grant for new and ongoing research into COVID-19.
Research is central to informing and inspiring doctors in our clinical practice, and the BMA has been supporting this area of medicine since 1839. We are in fact the oldest medical organisation in the world awarding grants and prizes in this way.
To all this year's grant winners, congratulations. You should be immensely proud of your achievements.
We have 19 grant winners this year, and we will announce each of these in turn on Twitter using the hashtag #MedResearchAwards. Please feel free to share their good news on your own social media accounts.
Let's start with our first award. This year, in response to the global COVID-19 pandemic, we offered an extra grant to promote research into COVID-19. The Rose Trees Foundation very generously offered to match fund our 2020 COVID-19 response, and collectively, we were able to fund 2 projects. The first winning project will investigate the effect of underlying cardiovascular risk profile on severe illness and death from COVID-19. The winner of this grant is Dr. Charlotte Warren-Gash from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. The second winning project will be exploring the factors that link conditions like diabetes and hypertension to the risk of COVID-19. The winner of this second grant is Dr. Sarah Blagden from the University of Oxford.
I'm an epidemiologist and consultant in public health medicine. I originally worked as a junior hospital doctor, where as well as treating people when they became ill, I became increasingly interested in why people develop diseases in the first place. And that led me towards a career in public health and medical research. Our research aims to identify the causes of disease, but also importantly, to help prevent people from developing particular health conditions. For a while now, my research has focused on the role of infections and the immune system in potentially triggering or accelerating the onset of other health conditions such as heart disease. And we do this by analysing large data sets of electronic health records. For the BMA Foundation research, we'll be focusing on COVID-19 and specifically on what happens to people who are at raised cardiovascular risk, perhaps because of high blood pressure, for example. I'm grateful to the Rose Trees Trust for funding this award, which we hope will help to identify priority groups for vaccines, treatments, and other interventions to combat COVID.
The Dawkins and Strut grant will support a project that will inform future development of diagnostic key performance indicators in upper GI endoscopy. The winner of this grant, Dr. Massimiliano De Pietro from Cambridge University.
My name is Massimiliano De Pietro. I'm consultant gastroenterologist at Cambridge University Hospital and senior clinician scientist at the MRC Cancer Unit, University of Cambridge. I've been doing research since year 4 medical school, and most of my research has been in the field of cancer so far. I'm passionate about research because it makes me think about details, whether they are the molecular mechanisms that drive the pathogenesis of a disease or the refined aspects of a medical diagnosis. For me, research is the constant curiosity that makes me ask questions about a disease and the hungry drive to find the answers to it. Ultimately, I think research is what improves the level of care for our patients. My clinical and research interest is cancer of the upper gastrointestinal tract, in particular of the esophagus and stomach. These are cancers with very poor prognosis. Luckily, we can diagnose them at endoscopy, which is a relatively straightforward procedure. If we can identify the patients at highest risk and diagnose their cancer early, we can dramatically improve their prognosis. If they are missed, the cancer will develop silently, and when the patients present with the symptoms of their cancer, often curative interventions are no longer possible. The BMA Foundation 2020 grant will fund a multi-center prospective study on 1,000 patients undergoing a clinically indicated upper GI endoscopy, so that we can understand how often in clinical practice high-risk lesions are missed during an upper GI endoscopy. The ultimate goal is to determine the true incidence of precancerous lesions over the upper GI tract, in order for us to develop diagnostic quality indicators for upper GI endoscopy.
The Doris Hilliard grant will support a project that will be trialling a patient-centred approach to gout management. The winner of this project is Dr. Philip Riches from Lothian University Hospital's NHS Trust.
The HC Roscoe grant will investigate how respiratory viruses interact with our immune system. The winner of this grant is Dr. Connor Bamford from Queen's University, Belfast.
My name is Dr. Connor Bamford. I'm a research fellow here at the Wellcome Wilson Institute for Experimental Medicine at Queen's University, Belfast in Northern Ireland. My research mainly focuses on the role of the innate immune response, or the immune response, during infection in the lung. And I'm mainly interested in viruses, but I also work in bacteria, and we're really keen to understand this interaction between these pathogens and our host cells, with the hope that we could actually use this information to make and design better treatments. The prestigious and generous award, this HC Roscoe Award from the British Medical Association Foundation, is extremely important to my research for two reasons. The first thing, this will allow me, this will support me at this early stage of my research career, and critically allow me to contribute some of the important findings in my lab to understanding the interactions between viruses in the lung and our innate immune response, and hopefully we'll be able to use this information to design and develop better and safer therapies and vaccines for some of the most dangerous diseases to humans.
The Helen H Lawson grant will design and conduct a programme of research in the diagnosis of paediatric sepsis. The winner of this grant is Dr. Thomas Waterfield from Queen's University, Belfast.
The Josephine Landsdel grant will explore tailored blood-thinning treatment for patients that suffer from aortic stenosis. The winner of this grant is Dr. Tiffany Patterson from King's College London.
The J. Molten grant to assist research into mental health through clinical trials will aim to automate the diagnosis of delirium through eye tracking in patients that are in intensive care. The winners of this grant are Dr. Ahmed Al-Hindawi and Dr. Marcella Vizcai-Chippy from Chelsea and Westminster Hospital NHS Foundation Trust.
The J. Molten grant to assist research into stroke will aim to determine the body's cellular and molecular response in patients with small vessel disease. The winner of this grant is Dr. Robin Brown from Cambridge University.
The James Trust will study causal roles played by the airway microbiome in driving asthma pathology. The winner of this grant is Dr. Aran Singanayagan from Imperial College London.
The Katherine Harper Grump goes to a project investigating whether the recent emergence in nitrofurantoin resistance, when used in the treatment of urinary tract infections, is related to the increased prescribing of nitrofurantoin itself or of other antibiotics. And it also examines the influence of socioeconomic deprivation, age, and sex across all clinical commissioning groups, or CCGs, in England. The winner of this year's grant is Dr. Ashley Hammond from Bristol University.
The Lift into Research grant supports early stage researchers with innovative ideas at their inception that may progress to an application for funding to support a research project. This year, the Lift into Research grant is awarded to 3 winners. The first winning project will compare adolescents and young adults of normal weight with those who are overweight or obese and determine the impact of their lifestyle patterns or choices on metabolic health, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and cardiovascular disease. They expect to demonstrate subclinical disease related to lifestyle factors, even at an early stage. The winner of this grant is Dr. Catherine Fairhurst from University Hospital, Aintree.
The second winning project will use a novel imaging technique to image the recovery of single retinal ganglion cell dendrites over time, following the administration by intravitreal injection of agents that can enhance neuronal recovery. The study will provide critical proof of concept that it is possible to recover retinal ganglion cell structure. This will provide a foundation for the development of clinical treatments for the restoration of vision in patients with glaucoma. The winner of this grant is Dr. Hamed Al Hassan from University Hospital of Wales.
The third winning project will explore the use of serum vascular endothelial growth factor as a potential biomarker for the growth of vestibular schwannomas. Growth trajectory for vestibular schwannomas can be hard to predict, and a biomarker predict vestibular schwannoma growth early could allow for treatment in patients before they cross risk boundaries. The winner of this grant is Mr. Kathal Hanan from Salford Royal Hospital.
This year, the Margaret Temple grant is divided between 2 projects. The first winning project will test for differences in several pro-inflammatory markers to provide insights into some of the possible schizophrenia-specific causes of the potentially dangerous cardiac changes we have found in schizophrenia. The winners of this grant are Dr. Emanuele Osimo and Professor Oliver Howes from King's College London. The second winning project will investigate DNA methylation in relation to depression and depression-related traits. The winner of this grant is Dr. Marina Barbu from Edinburgh University.
The scholarship grant will be exploring a technique that may help medical students deal with stress and pressure and reduce levels of mental illness. The winner of this grant is Professor Andrew Grant from Swansea University.
The T.P. Gunton Grant will aim to advance knowledge of the epidemiology and etiology of kidney cancer to inform effective prevention interventions. The winner of this grant is Dr. Beth Ann Davies from Imperial College London.
The Vera Down grant will identify the specific immune cells responsible for producing nerve-damaging antibodies to be able to develop precision immunotherapies. The winner of this grant is Dr. Simon Rinaldi from Oxford University. Thank you once again to everyone here for joining us for this virtual celebration and playing a vital role in ensuring the BMA Foundation continues to thrive.
I'm sure that we are all inspired by what we have heard and can be proud of the enduring legacy these grants will have across so many areas of medicine.
Unlike many other charities, we receive no statutory funding, and so it is solely due to individual donations that we have been able to award these grants. On behalf of the Foundation, we would like to thank everyone who has contributed.
To all this year's grant winners, congratulations. You should be immensely proud of your achievements.
I would encourage you all to find out more about their work by visiting the BMA Foundation website.
We very much hope to see you next year in person. But until then, goodbye and thanks for watching.